Today I'm going to be tying a realistic or a more realistic scud pattern using Pro Sportfishers Gammarus Shells. These Gammarus Shells are a UV printed vinyl foil that you can tie onto your fly, giving you a more realistic looking fly pattern. To start with, I'm using a TMCO 2457 caddis or shrimp hook. This is a size 12, and these Gammarus shells come in multiple sizes. You will find the size that you need. Starting off with, I'm going to build an underbody of flat lead wire to help give me some weight to the fly, and to also to help start building up proportions. I'm going to do two layers, second layer starting about a turn and a half, overlapping and ending a turn and a half. And so that now I start to have a tapered body. Color I'm going to tie today is a olive tan color, so I'm using UV A-dot thread, and for ribbing I'm using a monofilament ultra-fine thread. I'm going to start building a base of thread up here over my underbody. Just several turns down and back. I like to reposition my hook many times while I'm tying. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pop my hook over in the vise so that it's upside down. Bring my thread down to the rear. I want to tie in legs or the protuberances that move forward off of the Gammarus' front. Technical term escapes me at the moment. So for that I'm going to choose a partridge feather. I'm going to cut away the center and pull forward some of this feather. It's okay if we get a little bit of the webby stuff in there. This I'm going to tie in upside down with the V pointing forward. I'm going to come in and pinch that and take a couple soft wraps at the rear and carefully pull this forward. And so that you can see those strands moving forward on that hook. Now is when I'll take one of the Gammarus shells, and they're easy to pull away from the pack. They're little tabs on each end that you can easily snip away. And you'll see here two little eyeballs. Now this is where I'm going to tie this in on. I want the eyeballs in the rear, this being the head of my fly. And this little tab right here is what I'm going to use to tie that in with. And that's going to go on the top. I'm going to give it a good secure there on the top. And I'm going to take my mono thread and I'm going to go ahead and wrap that towards the rear of the fly and move that out of the way for later. This fly really is easy to tie. The body I'm going to use this Ice Dub UV Light Olive, small amount. What I do want to do is I'm going to shred this a little bit so the fibers are smaller and shorter, because I'm going to pick these out for legs. And then I'm going to come back and dub that in. And a lot of times these gammarus get internal parasites, which causes their digestive tract, their stomach, or intestines to die. And where they do that, you'll often see a little orange spot. It's not an egg sac, it's actually a parasite. And that little egg sac parasite, whatever you want to call it, orange spot, could be considered a strike trigger. So I'm going to run just a little bit of a band of shrimp pink UV ice dubbing there in the center. And then I'm going to continue dubbing forward with a little bit more of the shredded UV ice dubbing. All the way forward. Take a Velcro or a dubbing brush and work that material down into the body. And now we can pull this shell forward over the top, giving it a slight stretch and tying it down via the tab that's in the front there. And I'm not going to cut that little tab off just yet, but I will give a half hitch so that way my thread doesn't pop off while I'm ribbing. And if your dubbing is a little too long, go ahead and just grab a hold of it and pinch it and pull it apart to preen it a little bit. Now for this ribbing I'm going to start forward and I'm going to place one rib at each marking on the shell back here. Give it a few wraps, come back with my tying thread and wrap over it, secures it, and I will tie that off. I can reposition my legs. You see the side view there, and at the top you can actually see those little eyeballs in there and a nice patterning. Go ahead and cut that tab off. When I go back to a partridge feather, I'm going to cut the tips out and just use a little bit of the front there. 2 soft wraps, pull that into place, tightly wrap it down now. Sometimes I have to reposition my fly a little higher so the hook is up. Trim that away. Whip finish a small little head. I like to kind of rough up those little feathers a little bit. Can go back and groom a little bit here on the sides. You could leave that as is, or you could optionally run a bead of UV epoxy down the back of the shell. Just a thin coat. And I'll hit that with my light to cure it. And here with the UV on it, you can see the effects of the UV materials giving off a nice little glow. And there you have a really simple, realistic UV scud tied with Pro Sportfishers Gammarus Shells.